Welcome back to the channel, USA Coins 69, coin lovers, collectors, and treasure hunters. Today, get ready to step into the golden age of American coinage as we take a deep dive into one of the most iconic, mysterious, and beloved coins ever struck by the United States Mint, the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Yes, that humble little copper coin you might have walked past 1,000 times or tossed into a change jar without a second thought could actually be worth a small fortune today. You might be sitting on a historical artifact, a rare collectible, a piece of American legacy, and not even know it. So stay tuned till the very end, because we're going to uncover what makes this coin so special, the secrets hidden in its tiny details, and reveal exactly how much it could be worth in today's collector market. The Lincoln Wheat Penny holds a special place in the heart of American coin collecting. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, it was a revolutionary design, the first U.S. coin to ever feature a real person and not just symbolic imagery. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent replaced the Indian head cent and quickly became a fixture in American pockets. But what's even more fascinating is that from 1909 through 1958, the reverse of this coin featured two stalks of wheat surrounding the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, which is how it earned the name, Wheat Penny. Now, let's narrow the focus to a very special year, 1954. The United States was in a post-World War II boom. Industry was growing, the suburbs were expanding, and the country was riding a wave of prosperity and optimism. The coins minted during this time were symbols of strength, growth, and continuity, and the 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny was no exception. But while millions of these pennies were produced, not all of them were created equal. Some have features that make them highly desirable, rare, and extremely valuable to collectors today. The 1954 Wheat Penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The mint mark, those tiny little letters just below the date, can tell you where your penny came from. If there's no letter, it was struck in Philadelphia. A small d means Denver, and an s means it came from San Francisco. While all 3 mints produced this coin, certain varieties and conditions are incredibly hard to find today. That's where the real treasure hunt begins. You might be asking, how can a coin that was once so common become so valuable? It all comes down to condition, rarity, mint mark, and sometimes, minting errors. Most 1954 pennies were heavily circulated. Think about it, they passed through the hands of kids buying candy, soldiers returning from war, mothers shopping for groceries, and millions of everyday Americans living their lives. Decades of use wore them down. Scratches, discoloration, corrosion, they all take a toll, but every once in a while, a penny from 1954 surfaces in immaculate condition, perhaps one that was forgotten in a coin roll, carefully stored by a collector, or even hidden away in a safety deposit box. These coins, especially when they're in mint state condition, graded MS-65 or higher by professional services, can fetch jaw-dropping prices. And then, there's the mystery and magic of mint errors. These are coins that were misstruck at the mint. Maybe the die was misaligned, maybe there was doubling in the date or lettering, or maybe the planchet was clipped or off-center. These rare mistakes, invisible to most people, make collectors go wild. Some errors are so rare that only a handful of examples are known to exist, and they often sell for thousands, or even tens of thousands, at auction. Let's take a deeper look at some of the standout variants of the 1954 Wheat Penny, starting with the 1954 S Penny. Coins from the San Francisco Mint are known for having more frequent and dramatic minting errors during this era. Collectors often report repunched mint marks, where the S was stamped more than once, slightly misaligned. This tiny detail can turn a regular penny into a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition. Then there's the 1954 D variety. Denver minted coins typically had stronger strikes and higher output, but some rare double die errors have been reported, where the letters in Liberty or the date appear slightly doubled under magnification. These double die pennies are extremely desirable and can skyrocket in value if found in mint condition, and let's not forget the Philadelphia issues, especially those without any mint mark. While they may seem the most common, they can be just as valuable when in pristine condition. Sometimes the simplest coins hide the biggest surprises. What you really want to look for is luster, sharp detail in Lincoln's hair and beard, clean fields, the background, and absolutely no signs of wear. If your 1954 penny still has that beautiful original copper red shine, you might have something special. The difference between a circulated penny worth 1 cent and an uncirculated gem worth thousands is all in the details. Now, let's talk about demand. Why are collectors so drawn to these old wheat pennies, especially from the 1950s? It's nostalgia. It's history. It's the thrill of the hunt. It's knowing that something ordinary can become extraordinary simply because time and care preserved it. And for many, it's also about investment. Rare coins hold their value, and often appreciate over time. That's why coin shows, online auctions, and collector forums are filled with buyers searching for specific dates and conditions, willing to pay premium prices for the right coin. And this brings us to the big moment you've been waiting for. If you've been watching carefully, maybe even holding a 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny in your hand right now, wondering if it's worth keeping, here's your answer. A 1954 Lincoln Wheat Penny, in pristine mint state condition, with no circulation marks, perfect color, and possibly even a rare mint error, can be worth as much as $45,000. Yes, you heard that right. $45,000 for a single 1-cent coin. So don't underestimate those little brown pennies. One of them might just be your ticket to an unexpected windfall. Go check your old coin collection, your grandparents' savings jars, or that little box of change hidden in your drawer. You never know what treasure is waiting to be discovered. Today, we're going to shine a spotlight on one of the most iconic and intriguing coins in American history, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny. That's right, the humble copper coin that may be lying forgotten in your old jar of change or tucked away in a dusty drawer could actually be worth far more than a single cent. And by the time we reach the end of this story, you'll see how this coin, when preserved in the right condition, could be valued at an amount that will absolutely blow your mind. Now, let's begin our journey by rewinding the clock to the year 1957. It was a time of post-war confidence in America. Dwight D. Eisenhower was president, Elvis Presley ruled the airwaves, and the American dream was in full swing. Automobiles were booming, families were growing, and innovation was in the air. Amid this cultural and economic wave, the United States Mint continued producing the iconic Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that had already become an American staple since its debut in 1909. The 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny may not look like much at first glance. Just a small copper coin, right? But like many pieces of history, its value is hidden beneath the surface. That's why it's so important to take a closer look, because this specific year and coin can carry much more than face value for collectors who understand what to look for. The coin features the classic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, stoic, thoughtful, and dignified. Above him, the word Liberty, to his right the date, 1957, and just below the date, depending on the mint, you may find a tiny letter, either a D for Denver or nothing at all, which means it was struck in Philadelphia. And right there is your first clue, the mint mark. While both the 1957 and 1957 D pennies were minted in massive numbers, not all of them are created equal. The difference between an everyday wheat penny and a coin worth thousands is often found in its condition, rarity, and hidden details. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the reverse design that gave this penny its famous nickname, the Wheat Penny. Two elegant wheat stalks curve along the sides of the coin, framing the words, 1 cent and United States of America. Above that, the proud national motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. It's a design rich in symbolism, simplicity, and elegance, representing both the strength of the American people and the agricultural roots of the nation. The 1957 Wheat Penny was one of the last in the series before the design changed in 1959 to feature the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. So this coin marks the end of an era, one that collectors across the world continue to seek out and preserve. In fact, many numismatists believe that the final years of the Wheat Penny series, like 1957 and 1958, hold a special place in coin history. And that means strong collector demand, but what transforms a common 1957 wheat penny into a coin worth thousands upon thousands of dollars? Let's talk about condition first. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with a perfect 70 being a flawless example. Most pennies you'll find today from 1957 have been heavily circulated, worn down by years of use, scratched, dull, and discolored. But every once in a while, a coin appears that looks brand new. These mint state coins, especially those graded MS65 or higher by reputable services like PCGS or NGC, are incredibly rare. They retain their original copper-red luster, with sharp detail in Lincoln's hair, beard, and jacket, and no distracting marks on the surface. These are the coins that catch a collector's eye and wallet. Now, condition is only one part of the story. Let's add another layer: mint errors. Yes, errors. To the average person, a mint error might look like a mistake. But to a coin collector, it could mean a jackpot. Some 1957 wheat pennies were struck off-center, others have doubled dies, where the lettering or date appears doubled due to a misalignment during striking. Some may even have a repunched mint mark, where the little d under the date was stamped more than once in slightly different positions. These rare variants are extremely valuable. And the more dramatic the error, the higher the price it can command. Another factor? Original color. When a wheat penny leaves the mint, it has a bright copper-red tone. But over time, exposure to air and handling causes most coins to turn brown. So, a 1957 penny that has held onto its brilliant red color for over 60 years is something truly special, and significantly more valuable. Now let's talk about demand. Coin collectors, or numismatists, are always hunting for the finest examples of historic coins. And the 1957 wheat penny is a favorite among both beginner and advanced collectors. Why? Because it's the perfect combination of nostalgia, history, beauty, and accessibility. But the best of the best, the rare mint state coins, the ones with perfect shine and error varieties, are fiercely competed for in the market. Many of these prized coins have been sold at auction for staggering amounts. You might be surprised to learn that the humble 1-cent coin, in just the right condition, has caught the attention of elite collectors, investment buyers, and even museums. Because this isn't just a coin, it's a story frozen in time. It's a tangible piece of 1957. And that makes it priceless to those who understand its worth. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you have a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny in perfect mint state condition, possibly with a rare error, strong original luster, sharp details, and preserved like the day it was minted, its value could reach an astonishing $48,000. Yes, you heard that right, $48,000. Imagine holding a coin in your palm that once bought a piece of candy, and now it could buy you a car, fund a vacation, or add a significant boost to your savings. It's not a dream, it's the reality of rare coin collecting. So take a moment. Go check your old coin jar, your grandparents' attic boxes, or that little drawer full of change. Examine your 1957 pennies closely. You might just find the next hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Today's episode is going to take you on a journey far beyond just pocket change. Because we're going back to a time when the world was at war, the United States was on the edge of victory, and a tiny copper coin was being minted that would go on to become one of the most iconic and potentially valuable pieces of American currency, the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Yes, a 1-cent coin that many people toss aside without a second thought might just be the hidden gem in your collection. And by the time you reach the end of this video, you'll learn what to look for, what makes it valuable, and just how much a rare version of this little penny could be worth in today's collector market. So, let's travel back to 1945. It was the final year of World War II. American soldiers were fighting on distant battlefields in Europe and the Pacific, while back home, families planted victory gardens, rationed supplies, and worked tirelessly in factories to support the war effort. Every part of life was touched by the conflict, including the nation's coinage. Metals were precious and prioritized for military production, which influenced what coins were made of, how many were minted, and even how carefully they were handled. And in the middle of all this, among the headlines of VE Day and atomic bombings, was a simple 1-cent coin, being struck by the United States Mint. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny may seem small and ordinary, but it carries the weight of history. It tells a story not just of economics, but of sacrifice, resilience, and national pride. Let's start by understanding the design. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, you'll find the profile of Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president, facing right. He's serious, thoughtful, and dignified, reflecting the strength and leadership he gave the nation during its darkest time, the Civil War. Above Lincoln's head reads, "In God We Trust," and to the left, the word liberty. To the right of Lincoln is the date, 1945. And just below the date, depending on the mint, you may see a tiny letter, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. If there's no mint mark, that means the coin was struck in Philadelphia. Now flip the coin over, and there it is, the iconic wheat design that gives this penny its name. Two graceful stalks of wheat curve upward along the sides, framing the bold words, 1 cent and United States of America. And just above that, E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. This reverse design, used from 1909 to 1958, has become one of the most beloved in American coinage history. So now you might be asking, how can something that was made in the millions be valuable today? Well, that's where the magic of coin collecting comes in. While it's true that the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted in large quantities, Philadelphia struck over 1 billion, Denver about 266 million, and San Francisco around 181 million, not all of these coins have survived in pristine condition. Most were circulated heavily, used in everyday transactions for decades, picked up by little kids for gumballs or lunch money, passed from pocket to pocket, worn down by time, but some were set aside. Maybe they were tucked away in a roll, saved as a curiosity, or preserved by a young coin collector in 1945 who sensed this coin might someday mean something more. And those few coins, those survivors in excellent, uncirculated condition, are the ones that today command incredible attention and value. Condition is everything in the world of rare coins. When a 1945 penny is found in mint state, meaning it shows no signs of wear, has full original luster, and crisp, sharp details, it becomes a whole different coin in the eyes of collectors. These coins are professionally graded on a 70-point scale, and anything above MS-65 is considered investment grade. Imagine finding a 1945 penny with full red color, no scratches, perfect definition in Lincoln's beard, jacket, and hair. That's when values start soaring, but there's more to this story than just condition. Let's talk about rarity and uniqueness. Certain 1945 pennies have minting errors, mistakes made during the coin production process. These can be things like doubled dies, where the letters or date appear slightly doubled, off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned, or repunched mint marks, where the small d or s was stamped more than once. These errors are incredibly sought after by collectors because they are true one-of-a-kind pieces, accidents that became treasures. In fact, some 1945 wheat pennies have surfaced with such rare and striking errors that they've been featured in numismatic magazines and sold at major auctions. And depending on how rare and dramatic the error is, and if the coin is in excellent condition, it can fetch a premium far beyond its face value. Now, let's talk about the broader appeal. Why do collectors go crazy for the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny? Well, it's not just about rarity or price, it's about meaning. This coin represents a snapshot of America at a turning point in history. 1945 was a year of sacrifice, courage, and ultimate triumph. The war was coming to an end. American soldiers were returning home. The world was changing, and so was the nation. Owning a coin from that year is like holding a piece of that change in your hand. It connects you to a generation that fought, survived, and built the modern world. And for collectors, that emotional value makes the 1945 penny one of the most treasured coins of the 20th century. And here's something else worth knowing: this coin also appeals to new collectors, young enthusiasts, and those just getting started in the world of numismatics. It's part of a beloved series. The Lincoln Wheat Penny is often the first coin people fall in love with. And because of that, demand remains high. The supply of perfect 1945 pennies, however, is shrinking every year. That's why prices keep rising. So now, the moment you've been waiting for. You've stayed with us through the history, the design, the condition, and the mystery. You've learned what makes this coin more than just a penny. And now you're wondering, how much could a 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny actually be worth, if you are lucky enough to find one in pristine mint state condition, with full red luster, no marks, and possibly even a rare error? Then brace yourself. That little copper coin, made during the final days of World War II, could be worth an astonishing $50,000. Yes, you heard that right. $50,000 for a 1-cent coin. So now is the time to check your old coin jars, your grandparents' collections, and those long-forgotten drawers. Pull out your wheat pennies. Look closely at the date. Look for that, 1945. Examine the condition. And if you think you've got something special, it might be time to have it professionally graded, because you could be holding a piece of history, and a hidden fortune. Today, prepare for an incredible journey into the past, because we're digging deep into the story of a small but mighty coin that could be hiding in your collection right now. We're talking about the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln Wheat Penny from the year 1941. It might seem like just an old copper coin, something you've seen 100 times before, but don't be fooled. This coin is far more than meets the eye. It holds history in its metal, mystery in its design, and in the right condition, it could be worth far more than a single cent. Stay with us through the end of this video, because we're going to explore every detail of this incredible coin, and reveal just how much a rare version of the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny could be worth today. Let's rewind the clock. The year is 1941. The world is in turmoil. World War II is raging across Europe and Asia. The United States hasn't yet entered the conflict, but the nation is watching closely, holding its breath. Factories are running, defense contracts are booming, and people are preparing for what seems like inevitable change. Franklin D. Roosevelt is president, and American industry is rising like never before. Amid this global uncertainty, the U.S. Mint quietly continued its work, producing coins for daily commerce, unaware that one small copper coin from that year would one day become a historical and collectible treasure. The Lincoln Wheat Penny had already been in production since 1909, honoring the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first time a real person, not a symbolic figure, was featured on a U.S. coin. And the design? Timeless. On the front of the 1941 penny, you'll find Lincoln's profile, stoic, wise, and instantly recognizable. His image was created by Victor David Brenner, a sculptor who wanted to honor Lincoln's legacy with dignity and strength. Above Lincoln's head reads the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the left of his portrait is the word "Liberty," and to the right, the year that matters most to us today, 1941. Just below the year, depending on where the coin was struck, you might find a small mint mark. If your coin has no letter, it was minted in Philadelphia. If there's a D, it was minted in Denver. And if you spot an S, then it came from the San Francisco Mint. All three locations produced the 1941 penny, but as you'll soon see, not all of them are equal in rarity or value. Turn the coin over, and you're greeted by the elegant simplicity of the wheat design. Two wheat stalks frame the center text, proudly declaring 1 cent and United States of America. Above that, in bold letters, is the phrase E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one. This design ran from 1909 to 1958 and became one of the most iconic images in American coinage history. Now here's where things get exciting. You might be thinking, weren't these coins produced in the hundreds of millions? And you'd be right. In 1941 alone, Philadelphia minted over 887 million of these pennies. Denver produced around 128 million. And San Francisco added another 92 million. That's a lot of pennies. But what you have to understand is that rarity isn't always about how many were made, it's about how many survived in exceptional condition. You see, most 1941 Lincoln Wheat Pennies were circulated heavily. They were passed from hand to hand, used in stores, in vending machines, in school cafeterias, and during wartime rationing. Over the decades, they were worn, scratched, discolored, and eventually forgotten in jars and drawers. But every once in a while, a few of them escaped that fate. Maybe someone put one aside in 1941 and forgot about it. Maybe it was stored in a mint roll or coin album. And those coins, the ones that remained in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, those are the true gems. When a coin expert or grading service like PCGS or NGC looks at a 1941 wheat penny in pristine condition, they grade it based on its detail, shine, color, and any signs of wear. Mint state coins graded MS65 or higher are rare. And if a 1941 penny has a brilliant, copper-red tone, the original color from the mint, it becomes even more valuable. But wait, it gets better. Because some of these coins have errors. That's right, mistakes made during the minting process that make certain coins truly unique. And collectors absolutely love error coins. Imagine a double die, where the date or the word Liberty appears doubled due to a misaligned strike. Or a repunched mint mark, where the D or S was stamped more than once, creating a shadowed effect. Or even a planchet error, where the coin's metal wasn't properly cut or shaped. These mint errors are not flaws, they're rarities. And when combined with a high-grade condition, they send a coin's value into the stratosphere. Some of these rare 1941 error pennies are known to exist in very limited numbers. And when they show up at auctions, collectors bid aggressively to get their hands on them. Now let's not forget the emotional and historical weight of this coin. It's not just a collectible, it's a time capsule. Holding a 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny is like holding a piece of pre-war America. It represents a moment of quiet before the storm, a symbol of a nation about to change forever. Millions of Americans who held this coin in their hands went on to serve in the war, support the effort from home, and rebuild the world afterward. That's what makes this coin more than copper. It's a piece of our shared story. Collectors are drawn to this coin not only for its value, but for its meaning. It's often one of the first coins that numismatists seek out when building a Lincoln Wheat Penny set. And as time passes, finding clean, uncirculated examples becomes harder and harder, driving up demand and value every single year. So how much is a 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny worth today? Well, your average circulated penny from this year might only bring in a few cents, maybe a couple of dollars if it's in decent shape. But if you're lucky enough to own a 1941 penny in mint state condition, with that brilliant red luster, sharp detail, and especially with a rare mint error, then get ready, because a coin like that, preserved over 8 decades, holding the power of history, rarity, and flawless beauty, could be worth an astounding $53,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $53,000 for a single 1-cent coin. That's the incredible power of numismatics. What others overlook as small change, collectors recognize as history. What most people ignore in an old coin jar, a trained eye knows could be a fortune. So, take this as your sign. Go search your collection. Look through your family's old coin stash. Dig through those penny rolls and forgotten drawers. Because you never know, the next time you hold a 1941 penny in your hand, it might just be your lucky day. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the Lincoln Wheat Penny, specifically, the 1950 Mint Mark edition. Whether you're a passionate collector, a casual hobbyist, or someone who stumbled upon an old jar of coins in the attic, this is one coin story you don't want to miss. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny might look like just another old copper coin to the untrained eye, but there's more to it than meets the eye. It holds secrets of post-war America, minting history, and, for a lucky few, it could unlock an unexpected fortune. So get comfortable, and let's take a journey into the hidden value of this modest 1-cent piece. Picture America in 1950, a time of rebuilding and transformation. World War II had ended just a few years prior, and the United States was stepping confidently into a new era. Soldiers had returned home, families were growing, and the American dream was taking shape. Factories that once produced weapons were now churning out consumer goods, and the country's economic machine was running strong. Amid all this change and optimism, the U.S. Mint continued its job, producing the small but mighty Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that had already been a staple in pockets since its debut in 1909. The 1950 Wheat Penny carries that spirit of progress. It's more than just copper, it's a reflection of a powerful moment in American history. On the obverse, you'll find the proud profile of President Abraham Lincoln, the iconic image that has graced this coin for over a century. The details in Lincoln's hair, the sharpness of the lettering, the gentle curve of the rim, every element of the design tells a story. And beneath Lincoln's portrait lies the mint mark, either no mark for Philadelphia, a small D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. These tiny letters may seem insignificant, but they play a major role in the rarity and value of any coin. Now, flip the coin over, and you'll see the classic wheat ears reverse design. Those twin stalks of wheat curving around the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, represent prosperity and strength. And above it all, the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one, still rings true today. The simplicity of the wheat design speaks to a different time, when coins were crafted with symbolism and purpose, and not just mass-produced for function, but what makes the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny stand out in the eyes of collectors. First, its age. It has crossed the 70-year mark, making it a true vintage piece. Second, mintage numbers matter. While millions of these coins were made, most were spent, lost, or worn down by time. The real prize lies in finding one that has survived in top condition, uncirculated, with sharp features, no scratches, and full luster. These are the coins that make collectors' hearts race. Condition, or grade, as collectors say, is everything. A well-worn 1950 penny may still be interesting, but its value will remain close to face value. However, if you find a 1950 wheat penny that has been stored away carefully, perhaps in a coin album or collection, and it's still bright with original color and clear details, you might just be looking at something truly valuable. Experts look at elements like strike sharpness, lack of damage, original red color, and mint luster. The closer a coin is to its condition on the day it was minted, the higher its grade, and the higher its worth, but there's more. Some 1950 Lincoln Wheat Pennies come with rare errors, minting mistakes that occurred during production. These could include double dies, where the design appears slightly doubled, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks. These small imperfections might seem like flaws, but to collectors, they're golden opportunities. A rare error can turn a common coin into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And because these errors are not always easy to spot, you might have won and not even realize it. So take out that magnifying glass. You could be sitting on a hidden jackpot. Now, you might be wondering, how rare is it, really, to find a valuable 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny? Well, here's the thing, these pennies are out there. People have found them in coin rolls from the bank, in old piggy banks, in inherited coin jars, even in flea markets and garage sales. It doesn't take luck as much as awareness. Start looking more closely at the pennies that pass through your hands. You never know when you'll discover something extraordinary hiding in plain sight, and if you're lucky enough to own a 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially with a mint error or strong red toning, then you may want to have it professionally graded. Certified coins carry more trust in the market and can be sold at auction for serious sums. That tiny 1-cent coin you found in your grandfather's drawer might be far more valuable than its copper weight. So, are you ready for the big number? The jaw-dropping moment? A 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny, depending on its mint mark, condition, and whether it has a rare error, can be worth as much as $57,000. Yes, you heard that right, $57,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a coin meant for everyday purchases, something you'd barely notice at the bottom of your pocket, could turn out to be such a rare and valuable piece of history. So next time you're sorting through your change, remember this story. That unassuming penny might just be your ticket to an unexpected fortune. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin discoveries, and turn on notifications so you never miss a hidden treasure again. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.